All right, Oconee County Rescue Squad Advisory Commission, April 23rd, 2026, call to order at 1800. You would stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Dean, if you would lead us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next up, approval of the minutes for March 26, 2026. It should be the second page. Has everyone had time to review that? I'll need a motion and a second to accept.
Motion approved.
Mr. Zahn, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Christie. All in favor, raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Next up is public comment, limited to 4 minutes per person. Anybody in the public wish to speak? Hearing none. Commission member comments, I don't see any submitted. We'll go into committee reports. Radio committee. We met a week or two ago with Motorola. Same like when we met with that other vendor. The county is still venturing other options, still kind of up in the air. Steve, you got anything to add? Zach, you got anything to add?
Just reiterating that this, technically, when we can look at vendors with the sheriff's office and emergency services, but it's ultimately the sheriff's responsibility and his purview on what radio system we go to. So, but we're just all trying to work together and coordinate what's going to work best for everyone involved.
Does the sheriff's office own all of the radio system, analog and digital?
Yes.
Okay.
They maintain, well, so it's, they have two contractors that they use for analog and one for digital. So if something were to break or something needs maintenance, they'll have those here to repair them.
Is it possible the rescue repeater is doing particularly poorly? Through the Bounty Land area, very poor coverage. In front of Rescue One a week or two ago, little to no coverage, and all through Friendship, no coverage. Is it possible to put in a service request or something?
Sure, I mean, they're already out anyway checking stuff, so I'll make sure I'll
Thank you.
pass it on tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Steve, you got anything to add? Any questions on the radio committee?
It was very pricey.
Here no more, we'll go into the budget and incentive committee. Mr. Scott and Amber.
We did not meet between last meeting and this one. And again, I believe everything is status quo for the incentive. I was able to watch parts and pieces of the budget hearing or the budget workshop.
Yep.
And looks like the funding has been restored to the incentive, so.
Good.
Got a question. Just information for the two of you. Truman Nicholson from Rescue 6 is asked to be on that committee. And I can give you guys his contact information today. And he had asked for y'all's, and I talked to him today, and he said I'd still like to be on that committee, so.
Okay. Any more discussion for budget and incentive? Here none, we'll go into the SOG committee. So we've met 2 times, once last month and once last week. Revision 2 has been reviewed by the committee. It just needs to be typed up and sent back out. Plan on getting that out by Sunday evening this weekend. We'll send it to all the rescue chiefs and all the squads. Primarily what we're looking to do with this in talks with interim director Smitty is if we can get that out this weekend, we'll bring it up at the rescue chiefs meeting on May 7th as well for any feedback. Our next commission meeting is May 28th. That would give the rescue chiefs and the rescue squads 2 weeks exactly to review that document with any revisions or corrections. Remember, an SOG document is a living document. It is always going to be revised. It's always going to be scrutinized and looked at. So even if we don't have a finished product by the 28th, we still would like to get something newer than 2020 or 2014. So the hopes of that is to get all this pushed out May 7th to everybody. And then on the 28th, if everybody's good with it, we'll vote on it and send it straight to the interim director's desk. If you got any questions for the SOG committee, again, I'll try to send that out to everybody by Sunday. All the chiefs, the squads, and everybody on the commission. Hearing none, training committee?
Christie, you got anything up front?
No, we did not meet.
Right, we have not met, and I have had a hard time getting interest of people to be on the training committee, and I know, Mike, we've talked about training, and I don't know where we're going with this. The county's, they're giving us training, but I don't know if you can give us some directive on that, of what we need to do.
We'll get together, get a date, we can all meet. I'll put it out for the squad's training officers, the one that have it. What do y'all think about that? Invite,
I will remind
You
in
get
our
done.
January meeting, we all voted to make sure each committee meets once a quarter, so they need to meet by the end of May.
That's what we,
Into
been
May?
trying to
Into
get
Oh, yeah,
interest
well-
into people wanting to be part of this committee, and it's like,
I'll come see y'all up there. Well, we can make it.
okay.
Just another thought on that is like, we need to make sure this is the committee we need and that there's not a different topic that might be more, maybe get more energy around. But it would be good to meet with the training leads.
And
Do
then,
you think maybe like a Saturday type training or a weekend? Like half a day where there's multiple
We'll see.
things,
It'll be at least in the evenings.
kind of some off-topic type things, not the traditional type classes.
Right.
So, okay.
any more questions for training committee? Hearing none, while we're still in committee reports, just a reminder that we meet once a quarter with the Law Enforcement Health and Safety Committee. I'm supposed to submit a document to them either by word of mouth or on paper. I will not be available at their next meeting in May. Commissioner Vice Chair Zahn is going to be there. So if you have anything in your committee reports or anything that has happened since January, please email that to me so I can get it typed up in one document. That way, Vice Chair Zahn can go to that committee and give them our report for the quarter. Any other questions on their committee reports? Hearing none, we'll go into Mike Carroll's report.
All right, everybody. Run report starting out. The quarter, we're all, except for that one yellow, everything's looking great. Rescue 1, 540 calls in the first 3 months of the calendar year. Making 94% of those. Salem's 107, Oakway 333, Walhalla 366, Westminster 338, Mountain Rest out of a total of 46, Kiwi 89, Dive Team 2, Special Rescue 7. Special Rescue's been busy and it passed on into this current month. Just looking back at our totals, everybody who's been on this, and I can give you history as how this document has gone from kind of mediocre to it's looking pretty good. Especially at the number of calls that are increasing for every area. And medical calls continue to increase. So, anybody have any questions? All right, we'll move on. Red NMX software, the nearest, we're still getting some bugs with the nearest, the new National Incident Reporting system. We'll continue to work through some stuff. We think we've had it fixed and something reverts back to previous. We had some units drop out and some units we thought we had fixed that were not showing up are now coming and going. So we have a meeting Tuesday morning to figure out what's going on now. It's usually just affecting, for one strange vehicle, Rescue 1B. So,
Used to be one alpha for ERS.
so it's, yeah. So we're that's hopefully worked out by Tuesday. Responder app, I've been getting them. Everything's been working good. People have been hitting at the responses, signing up for training via, and doing some other stuff. So, anybody got any questions?
So, I don't know if you want to talk about this now or when we get to our committee reports, but we're interested in the capabilities that we could be using as a squad. I know that we're not the administrators of Responder. So are there any opportunities to have like a squad level posting files or squad level calendar?
The calendar may be an issue, but we can possibly work through it. We're trying to work through, and it'll be probably a software purchase for them to write it, but each FDID or fire department ID can have their own bulletin board with this system.
Okay.
However, all the rescue squads and 2 of the fire stations are all under 37501. So having that would be, you would see what's going on at Rescue 1 and so we're going to look at getting that broke. The question is now, how much would it cost to break this apart so everybody would have their own? And it's kind of like a billboard system that puts your call and sets a station, but I think it's live also. I don't want to misspeak. But it'd be something where you can put the information out, but also, like you said, sending the messages out via messenger, via your own console, and getting those out to people. I mean, you can use the app from your phone and send stuff out. So that's the thing to work on, but just getting a price on how much it would cost.
Well, we're
So-
very interested even if we are the bill payer, we definitely want to know more as that becomes available. Thank you.
All right, training. I handed out everybody, Training Officer Honeycutt. Lieutenant Honeycutt put out the July to December training that is out. And he added the classes that are not just fire academy. First thing we got coming up, it's not on here, but it's on the CEP calendar. We got CEP next week, continuing education for EMRs and EMTs. The morning of the 28th and the evening of the 29th. It's on trauma, 2 hours continuing education. The EMT class, we've had a big interest at first, and a lot of people were contacted, and some just can't do the schedule or the pre-requirements that are up for the fire academy has you to do. So I think right now we're at 12. I think he said last number. So that number can go up. We got enough stuff now. We purchased some extra training, airway trainers and stuff like that, to where we can have a max of 24 now. 20, I think it's 24. A Class E driving class, and that gives you the emergency driver, but you gotta have it, like I said, you look out to the far right, EBDT, Class E driving permit, and you gotta provide a 10-year driving record. And that class gets you a endorsement on your license for a Class E for fire trucks, basically anything over 26,000 pounds. We've got a fire instructor class, and anybody can take it. There's no prerequisite, but it gives you the basics of becoming an instructor. That's in July. Another Class E class in August. We got the Augusta Burn Center coming in August, doing 2 classes for their presentation and burn management. One to be a morning class at 0900, and then an evening class at 1800. Anybody interested in taking that needs to go send Lieutenant Honeycutt a email. I sent that out to the chiefs with his email address. Some technical stuff coming up. Risk-based air monitoring, which would be good for the special rescue teams. You have to have intro to hazmat ops to take that class. Followed up, that's in August also. Another class in August is Tech Rescue, which is night and weekend class. And for anybody interested in taking that, they would have to have intro, which is an online class, intro to Tech Rescue. Coming up in September, Clemson University's farm agricultural group is bringing their grain bin training encapsulation, and it's for basically farm emergencies when people become working in grain bins, become trapped in a grain bin. That shows you the equipment needed to get them out in the process of doing that. There's no prerequisite for that class. Got a high angle class coming up, night and weekend. That's starting 9/11. To have that class, to take that class, you gotta take the tech rescue class, which was the previous rope class we talked about. And I think he's trying to get a confined space. I'm not sure if it's at a sweet sequence, but I think he's trying to get one of those rolling. We haven't had one of those in a while. And that would be in August. And then an EMR nighttime class would be starting in October. Anybody have any questions?
Where are we at, and if anybody in the audience wants to help us out, where are we at with the VFIS class? Because I know we talked to Brent last rescue chief meeting, and I came in a little late to that, but we also told people about a year ago that we would, not a year ago, a couple months ago, that we would do it in April, and here we are.
So I'm gonna get with Honeycutt. They've been doing a lot of daytime classes at headquarters for the last month. And we're gonna try to get that rolling, see if anything's going, we can use the parking lots at headquarters in May.
Because I know we got 5 or 6 of us that got certified as well.
Right.
So I would like to just go ahead and suggest May 30th and May 31st, if you could put that on your radar. That looks like the best for May, to go ahead and get a date, so we don't keep dragging our feet on it.
We was talking about doing a gym class, right? With all the instructors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we gotta make sure there's nothing going on at the building because we need the parking lot.
Yep.
That's the scheduling part. I gotta look at the whole thing, because it's not just us, it's the city of Westminster uses it also. Anybody have any questions on that?
Is it possible to schedule a VFIS class after EMR training? This way people are ready to respond. They'll be certified.
You're talking like after the?
Yeah, like the week or two after. I know then it looks like it ends up the end of November, which would be troubles, hit a holiday, but
Right.
maybe like the first week of December or something. This way people would be kind of ready to respond or in that mode.
That would be good. Do one before and then one after EMR.
Yeah, and I don't know if moving forward, that would be something that would be possible. Schedule an EMR class initial, and then, within a week or so after, they have this way that their sequence already.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right. Last item I got is new vehicle updates. Salem, we got theirs back. It was a module that was loose somewhere that was sending all the troubling faults for the system for that truck. It was a Kiwi Ford for about, I think it was less than a week. They got that back, getting everything ready for it. The Oakway rescue truck was finished up with all the add-ons, and it's, from what I got from Jeremy at Motorpool, it's next in line to start the lights. So I didn't get over it today to see, but it was sometime in the next week or two probably.
That's the F-150.
And then in the budget for next year, it was proposed one new truck, and that's replacing the other two.
One's replacing the red the 2011 F-350, and then
Oh, I'm talking about, for rescue
and that's for
squads.
fire, and then and then one for
One for rescue squads, which is the R4 F-150.
Yep.
Which is past due. And that's it, unless anybody's got any questions.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to rescue squad updates. Region 1.
Okay. In talking with Rescue 3, they have one looking for a nighttime EMR class. I'll make sure they're aware. don't know if they want to wait that long or what their other options are in reality. I appreciate you talking with the chiefs last month about the Narcan and resolving that. I appreciate that. I reached out to the chief there, and they said that I guess they were working on it or working through it with you.
Okay.
So for Narcan. There was an MCI drill, I believe, at the Tri-County. Station 21, we ran a call with, and they said, oh, they had uniform shirts on a Saturday, and I asked them what they were up to. They said, oh, we're going to go to an MCI drill. I was wondering, when those opportunities pop up, could you let us know too?
I'll speak on that.
Okay.
That is predominantly for the Career Center, for their students. In past years, we have not participated in those. But now moving forward with new administration, that is something that we're going to try to coordinate every year. So this was just a very spur of the moment thing that they needed an LZ for there.
Okay.
So next year, that's already been in a plan to have that taken care of.
Last year, a few of us went over there and helped them with the drill.
I did not know
So,
that.
yeah, and I thought it went well. It was good for us and our people. I mean, those are perishable skills, using the triage skills and some of those things. So, but yeah, moving forward would be great for us. Rescue One, we did our driver's training this month for all of our staff, and we included some trailer driving, which was new for some people, quite entertaining. And this month in May, again, we're going to have National Weather Service come do a weather spotter class for us. That's it for items for Rescue 1 and 3. Did you want me to talk about recruitment? Or would you like me to talk about that now, or do you want me to talk about that later?
I don't see it anywhere else, so go ahead.
Okay. What's the county's plan for recruitment coming up? Or is there one, or?
There's a plan to add money to the budget, is all I can tell you.
So,
They want to do quarterly dinners again or something? Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I heard.
and I'm not sure if it's any other thing. I heard that, and I heard, maybe, like quarterly get-togethers type
Okay.
dinners, like you said.
yeah, and something would be great.
Yes.
I've had some driving time lately, so I kind of had some things that I made for myself that I wanted to mention today. Is it possible to have a fast track for people who are to become EMRs, who are healthcare, like allied healthcare professionals? Maybe somebody's an LPN or RN or, an X-ray tech or respiratory therapist. If we could get folks that have medical training and fast track them through the EMR process.
There's medical training and there's emergency medical training. So you gotta look at the difference, what they are taught. You look at the skills. And a lot of that is skills related. They're not taught to put people on backboards, even though we don't use them a lot.
Correct.
Whole C-spine. A lot don't touch back valve mask unless they're respiratory therapists.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you just,
Yeah,
I can see it for former emergency medical technicians, paramedics, and some others, but there's the reason why there's I guess you would say, a path for both.
yeah. Do you think that you could put something together for the people that would fall into that range? Or like somebody with an RN with ER, or are you just taking them as a one-by-one, like a case-by-case basis? So if, let's say I was an RN.
We would have to
and
come
had
up with a
ER,
policy across the board.
Is that something that we could look at?
We can look into it.
And I don't know if that's maybe an SOG thing or not.
No, that's a medical direction.
I would agree with that. I believe that would be under medical direction as well. Another thing that I was thinking was, I know some counties or some places that look for volunteers, obviously it's a continual process that we're looking for volunteers. Is it possible to have an actual job posting through HR? I recognize that's out of all of our scopes, and that's becomes an HR thing. Is that something that we can maybe just talk with HR about, or maybe something that could be added to the Public Safety Committee that we could talk about?
I can ask them.
See if they could create a HR posting, and obviously we'd be looking for the rescue side.
Pickens County does it.
Yeah, we couldn't talk about the fire side, obviously the commissioners on that side would
Job
talk to them.
opportunity page on the county website. Yeah,
But to leave something up,
volunteers needed.
does HR contact people who were volunteers and do any type of exit interview? So I know, was it Rescue 22 had about 4 or 5 people leave?
I don't know, there was an exit interview, but I think if we're talking about committees that would be possible for the future, that might be like fall under the umbrella of volunteer satisfaction, happiness. So that's an idea.
Yeah. Again, is that maybe something that we could ask HR or see if HR, because if we see why people are leaving, maybe we could work on those problems or fix them. It might just, again, it's just a thought.
I'll ask.
Have we ever looked into a volunteer coordinator position? I know in some places there's grant funding available through the FEMA grants and those type of things under recruitment and retention. Have we ever looked at any of those for like a volunteer coordinator?
As far as I know, no.
Okay. And I know we're kind of on the tail end of budgeting and doing those things, but is that maybe something that we could look at moving forward or, and if I'm talking to the wrong person, then just tell me.
I mean, you can bring it up to law enforcement, public safety.
Yeah, is that something that you could add, maybe the thought of a volunteer coordinator?
A paid volunteer coordinator?
Yeah, either funded
I
by the
mean, that's
county.
technically Mike's job. That's Mike's job and that's the county fire chief's job.
Yeah, I think they're kind of in octopus mode. You know, there's only so many things you could ask one person to do. And I don't mean to be disrespectful on any.
You're not, but I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm here to listen.
Yeah, okay. And whether it be grant funded and maybe for a short period of time, 2 or 3 years, and then, maybe something that the county would pick up. I don't know.
Remind me, Zach, there are like 2 grant-funded positions at emergency management, so that wouldn't be
They're
too,
temporary.
that wouldn't be too hard to come up with.
They're temporary.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's,
But it's something we've already had in the works before.
you gotta be very careful with grant funding. So if you look at even the thought of a volunteer coordinator, that person's job will 100% specifically have, like I said, Mike's already doing it right now. With the EMS chief position, his job is specifically to support rescue squads and in their endeavors to help. So why do we need, I'm just questioning, why we need a volunteer coordinator when Mike already does it? We have a rescue coordinator for dive and special rescues, right? So assistant coordinator and a coordinator for that. We have Mike, and then we have Smitty. And all of us, we're technically, we coordinate volunteer response. So, I think,
when's the last time you went out and actively recruited for volunteers and had success with it?
when have I?
Or anybody in any of those organizations? Gone out and spent an afternoon or part of a day? I think everybody's kind of in
Personally-
octopus mode.
Personally, I think that area's rescue squad should be doing that. But that's just me.
So generally, you could ask volunteers to do maybe 2 or 3 things. Go to training, recruit, fundraise, or respond to calls. Which 2 do you want us to do? Train and respond to calls.
Okay?
And then parts and pieces, we're able to pick up people from time to time. Generally, it's friends or people we could Shanghai into it, in one way or another. Becomes troublesome. You run out of people, they don't want to talk to you anymore. After you ask them 2 or 3 times. So it becomes troublesome. And that's why I thought if we had like allied health professionals, they're already used to dealing with patients, and you're absolutely right. It's easy to teach somebody how to use a bag valve mask and plug in parts and pieces. But when you tell somebody they have a 4-year degree in physical therapy of, hey, you gotta go take this 60-hour class, I think it could put some people off, where if you were to say, hey, we could streamline that or tailor it a little bit for you with your experience or, that's why I thought maybe we could come up with a fast track system.
We teach out of a curriculum, so,
Okay.
like I said,
And then the
They
other,
have to be a healthcare professional, but their training is to what their field is, not to emergency medical response.
and I would agree with that in certain,
And also, it would be a training issue with, you got one person, let's say she's an RN or he's an RN and wants to be EMR, you gotta get that instructor. It still has to
Yeah,
go
it
through
creates
the
one-on-one
time.
time.
So if you got 5 people and 4 of the 5 aren't healthcare professionals,
yeah, it's
they're
easier.
gonna still have to
It's
sit
easier
through
just
it.
to sit for the class.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have.
I can tell you that go ahead, Chris.
We have many, like, nurses, we had a former doctor in our squad, and the only thing that they were real ahead of the game on was taking vital signs, but
Yeah, like patient assessment,
I-
that stuff.
I think that they would say the training was valuable to them.
I'm gonna give you a prime example. Dr. Ed Sherborne, he was the chief of trauma, started the paramedic program out of Philly, one of the hospitals up there. And he sat through the EMR class, and he wants to sit through a whole EMR class, or EMT class. Yes, he did it, and he'll tell you, there are some
Yeah, picked up a few
big
things.
differences, yeah.
Okay, and then the last thing, and I know I've spoken enough tonight, is it possible to create some sort of new volunteer orientation, like a one-day program? So, in theory, you get a group of people that are gonna be volunteers, or they wanna do whatever, for us to tell them, oh, yeah, that's great, thanks for volunteering, but you can't do anything until come the fall, because that's when the nighttime EMR class is. At least if we could get them up to speed, bloodborne pathogen, CPR first aid, and a couple other things, just let them know what they're in for, type thing, to give them a one-day orientation.
So
for
that's
the
why
coming board.
we created the training officers and gave the training officers ASHI certifications to teach all these classes, so you could do it in-house.
Okay. Okay, well, that's it for me. Thank you.
Any more questions for Scott? Hearing none, Region 2, Dean?
Squad 2, Salem, we hosted National Fire Sprinkler Association instructor last night. Some of you guys were there. I mean, it was very informative. I thought it was a really good class, and we're gonna definitely get them back. It was nice that Salem could host this thing. I mean, the county or any of the squads or any of the fire stations can host this thing with them. And I know she'll be happy to come back and do stuff with us. Other than that, with Salem, we don't have any new membership. Going back to membership, you know, when you're talking about a fire volunteer coordinator, I've been in that position twice in my career. And
It's a tough job.
well, it ended up with Osceola County, Florida, ended up being operations chief when it was all over with. And in Banks County, Georgia, I was hired as the fire service coordinator, which is volunteer coordinator, and I ended up being the county fire chief, because then we owned all the fire stations. But recruitment and retention, I think the squads ought to be part of that. And when it comes to the activity that people are doing, like Zach said, the county's got that covered, you know, because we're following county guidelines. And I think the squads, it's not just getting them and retaining them, but maybe, like we talked about, the county website putting, you know, volunteers needed out there, so it's, you know, we advertise it. But once you get them, you gotta look at what you get of people work during the day, they can't run calls during the day, you know, you gotta go out there for the ones you get in your area. We're the ones that are looking at them to say, hey, can you do this, can you do this, can you do that, and we get you the training. And the training's gotta be available for them, but it's a hard adventure with volunteers to, you know, I don't think we can put it back on the county. It's gotta be the individual squads that are trying to keep their people and, give them that interest in what we're doing with the squads. But that was just my take on that. But as far as 2 goes, we had an incident on Joe Cassie a couple weeks ago and busted a hole in the side of our boat. on a rescue out there, and that's been fixed. The boat's been serviced anyway, so we're back in business. We borrowed a county boat for the next rescue we had, and I think we had some problems with that one. But, other than that, we're doing good there. I talked to Truman up at 6 at Mountain Rest, and he said he's got nothing, and they're having retention problems and getting enough personnel to meet the call volume. And, but other than that, I don't have anything for 2 and 6. We're good.
6 did get a new member that's former county staff. That's living up there. She's an EMR trained, running calls. So
Say that again.
6 did get one new member.
6 got one new one?
Yeah.
All right, he didn't mention that to me today. And she is EMR?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, anything else for Dean?
That's it.
All right, Region 3, Steve?
Rescue 4, we obtained a new vehicle for us. It's new, in service, doing well. It is 4C. Trying to make calls. I don't think we have any new members.
We do not.
No. Rescue 5. Things are going well. We're picking up on a call volume. No new members. We might have lost one last week. That's about it.
Region 4, Prisky?
Our portal committee has continued to meet, just kind of looking at some of these software solutions and kind of worked our way systematically through the requirements of what we needed. We explored a huge amount of commercial off-the-shelf products and ended up coming to the conclusion that our best solution would be to use some of these responder features if we can get that at the squad level. So that is something that we remain interested in. We have a new training coordinator, and so trying to get him networked into what's out there. And we've discussed at some point if it would be helpful for each squad to do one elective a year that's open to the county. So something for you to take back for your training coordinators for thought. And that's it.
Question, any update on the vehicle that y'all purchased?
It is now under production on the 11th. Its birthday is the 11th.
Okay.
So that will still be factory made, shipped to here, outfitted, but we'll keep you in the loop.
Okay, cool. All right, Region 5 is not here. Let me double check that I don't have anything.
Swim tests are going on right now, for Swiftwater, or for new Swiftwater folks and for, new divers and, continued divers. We understand that there may be some folks that they can't make those dates, so during the, rapid entry dive training that is in June, should be the first week of June, we're gonna do some, makeup swim tests there.
Okay.
Tommy Christopher has been named the dive chief. So far, things are going well, and we have a meeting on Tuesday night.
Brady, I'd like to back up, make a comment too. Thank you for the helicopter training too.
Sure.
I forgot to mention that about up in Salem's area. We had the National Guard.
Palmetto
up
dust
there
off.
And with special rescue, and had a good turnout, and that was awesome.
Okay. Rescue Squad Chiefs Commissioners. Zach, you got anything else?
Yeah, I'll just go back to what Dean said. We had Palmetto dust off unit out of McIntyre up here on Friday to do some training with specifically military hoist operations. We had this in the past with Heart Team, but a member that works at EMS, his unit wanted to come train up in the mountains, so we organized a training for them to come up and attend and have some fun with and learn some things. So that was the first of probably many that they're gonna be up here doing some helicopter training a year, so. That's all I have. So,
Again, at our last Rescue Chiefs meeting, we met with Glenn from BFIS. He went over some of our unanswered questions, and I think he answered them very in-depth. So to that, we're just kind of waiting on getting, I know, we sent out an email trying to get everybody's interest in VFIS, and I think 2 or 3 people only emailed back. So we definitely need to make sure we know who needs the class so we can go ahead and get that scheduled and out there. That's why I proposed that May 30th or May 31st to get that moving. Other than that, again, we'll just push out the SOG stuff. Hopefully this weekend, we meet on May 7th, and maybe we can get some updated policies going forward. Y'all got any questions for the Rescue Chief Commissioners? Hearing none, I don't see where anything was submitted for executive session. And next up is adjourned. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Steve, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Christie. All in favor, aye? Aye. We are adjourned, 6:41.